speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm out. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm out. 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 I'm out. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, dog. I'm out. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Happy Monday to everyone. Hopefully y'all had a beautiful day. Man, so much going on today. Tonight, I have a question for y'all. After the election, what changes would you like to see in America? Because there's a lot of stuff need to change. Tiny Dancer said Biden 2020. Independent Flash Dim 2024. Welcome to the show, Tiny Dancer. Thank you for tuning in. You can live chat with us during this show. Please like, share, tell a friend. We're live. Then also, like I said last night, we're going to talk about Ken Paxton and his bribery charges and use of abusing his power, his office power. So we're going to hit on that tonight also. And we're also going to talk about radio coming in starting mess. We also going to talk about him too. So what changes would you like to see in America after the election? Me personally, I want to see some leaders that is for everyone, not just for certain type of people, but we also need to see laws to hold these police officers accountable for their actions, and also for our leaders too, because as we can see, we do have some corrupt leaders amongst us, and hopefully everybody would be able to come together. I know that's not going to happen right after the election. It may take decades from now before that happens, but hopefully some changes. And as for here in Texas and all schools, I would love to have the real history of America taught in schools, because they give us this watered down version instead of teaching the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes, I agree with you. More oversight of positions of power. Yes, we need to hold these elected officials accountable for their action. And I like what y'all have up there, radio up in Canada, that if their elected officials are not doing what they supposed to, they call a special election, and they can be put out of office. They don't have to wait for the full term. They can get put out right away. I think we need to dab in that a little bit, and maybe we'll get some better leaders than what we've been having. Now, I'm not saying all the leaders are bad, so don't think I'm saying that. but we have a lot of terrible leaders. So, um, welcome to the show, T Cal. Um, she said the same thing. See you are in it early, radio chaos. Um, said radio said I can't help it, T Cal. Just when I thought I've seen everything, something more ridiculous happened. Exactly. Um, T Cal said, well, we have impeachment. We just are not doing right. Impeachment take a little bit too long. And I think what radio said before up in Canada, that if they get so many complaints, and radio, please correct me if you don't mind, put it in the chat again if I can make sure I'm right up about it. If they don't like the person, they don't do the job they promised they was gonna do once they was elected, they can file a complaint, have a new election to get that person out of office. They don't have to wait the terms. I believe he said something about 6 months. I'm sure he'll put it up in just a minute. So those are the things I would love to see. I want to know, what would y'all like to see after this election come November the 3rd? T Cal told radio, I understand radio, you got to call it like you see it. A lot of laugh. Also, today, hopefully everyone here in Texas and across the world, across America, that is coming up to vote November the 3rd, hopefully you have taken the time out and check your registration. Make sure it's still active. I checked mine's today, my wife's. We're good. But if you in the DFW area, you have until midnight. And I want to say the main post office is still taking voter registration cards up until midnight. So if you haven't did it, definitely go out, get your card, mail it off. Need to be postmarked today. After midnight, it don't matter. It's too late. So if you're in DFW area, definitely take the time out. And if you haven't registered, take the time out to go and get registered. Radio also said if the prime minister doesn't have the support of the population, the opposing party can pressure them to call a new election. I really feel like we need to do that. I feel like if we had that law in place, we probably Trump term would have been real quick. Probably would have been a 30-day term. So I don't know how long the process is in Canada, but I don't think he will still be in office today. That's my opinion. But then again, there's a lot of people that like the bully mentality that he have, which add up to be mental health, what we talked about yesterday. And hopefully we could do it. So, okay, y'all are just like the UK. And I know UK don't play around, so that's a good system to be like. But unfortunately, I don't think ours would ever get to that point, because it's more about, if you leave it up to Trump, as we can see today, it's more about being seen and being heard, regardless of all the lives he put at risk. But we're definitely going to hit on that in a little bit. I say that for last because I figured we'll talk about that more. But as for Texas Attorney Attorney General Ken Paxton accused of bribery and abusing his office by 7 top aides in his office. Joe Biden could run in a conservative party up here. He probably could. He probably could if they allowed him to, but we don't know. So I did some checking on Ken Paxton. One of his associate and office that got raided last year, and I had his name pulled up, but he got raided last year, and now it's a big concern. Nate Paul is the guy name, and the FBI raided his office last year, and apparently he gave Paxton $25,000 ahead of his re-election battle in 2018. So they're looking into all of it, but he have 7 top aides that is in his office that have signed. All 7 have signed the letter and sent it to the FBI, warning them they feel like he had violated several local and federal laws, and they want to get him removed, asking them to look into it. I'm like this. He was arraigned on fraud charges 5 years ago, and still haven't went to court yet. 5 years ago. Now these new charges coming up. I mentioned last night on the show. What's going on, Charles Hunt from LA? Charles Hunt is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Hunt. So I mentioned last night on the show, I haven't heard from Greg Abbott, haven't heard from Dan Patrick. Well, they both gave a statement. I believe it was yesterday sometime. I didn't see it before I came on, but they both said it's concerning. The charges, they're going to sit back and wait until the investigation is over before they make a statement about it. Well, hopefully they do the right thing, because this man already is up on charges, been 5 years. Now, it's 2020. He was reelected in 2018. These other charges was before then. So he never should have been allowed to run for office again with a fraud charge. And not only that, there's something else we need to be concerned about, because Ken Paxton had announced 134 felony voter fraud charges in connection with the 2018 Democrat primary. So he's already have fraud charges against him. He been trying to sweep it up under the rug because he haven't been to court on that yet. Then he turn around, he have new charges coming up against him. I don't know. I will question those 134 felony voter fraud charges, because now if they did it, of course, they need to be held accountable. But even Attorney General Ken Paxton need to be held accountable also. Here it is. He's in office and committing crimes. Yes, that happened quite a bit. But a lot of time, we don't hear about it. We don't hear about it for the simple fact it's a a politician game that is played, and the only time we hear about it, somebody got upset about something. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe allegedly somebody got a bigger cut of the pot and they weren't happy. Or they trying to cut somebody out of the pot. But either way, he's holding a office and doing these things and act like it's okay. He need to be out of office, need to have him removed, and he never should have got back in there in 2018. Radio said people still voted for this guy with charges already against him. Yes. Best way I can say it, that's one of those 4 leaders I said here in Texas that do everything Trump tell them to do. I hope that gave you a clear understanding of why he got reelected. And not only that, because a lot of people do not get out and vote for local elections. That's why it's important for us to vote for the local election. Because if everybody got out and vote, he wouldn't be there. He would not be there. But a lot of people don't take the local election that important. Every election is important. That's why Greg Abbott is saying only one place to take your mail-in ballots, and they changing all these rules now. So they're trying to keep you from voting, do voter suppression for your vote won't count. But we need to be smarter than them. By any means necessary, we need to vote. We need to get out and vote. Make sure our voice is heard. Our voice have a lot of power because when we go to the polls, you could be a very quiet person, but once you feel in those bubbles, oh yeah, they're gonna hear your voice. They're gonna hear your voice because you're not gonna vote him back in. There's no way he should still be in office. He never should have been reelected, but he was. So we need to change that. I think when it comes down to politicians, that's another thing I would love to see change. When it comes down to politicians, you shouldn't be able to hold public office doing things like this immediately. Once it's investigated and it's true, you need to step down. You need to step down. So that's my question for everyone. What changes would you like to see in America after the election? Those are some of the changes I would like to see. Also, I'm gonna go and bring radio to the floor because I know he's waiting for this one. Trump leave the hospital. I woke up this morning and I decided to check Twitter this morning. I don't check it all that often, but this morning it was interesting. Before 8 o'clock this morning, Trump had tweeted 18 times talking about vote pro-life. Okay. Vote for 401k. vote for the stock market. And I was like, somebody might need a checkup on him because either he's trying to play catch up from the days he was unable to tweet, or something is seriously wrong with him. Um, oh, here's his toilet rage tweet. Probably so. He probably was sitting in there just, let me say this, let me say that. And as we know now, if you haven't heard, I actually thought he went back to the White House yesterday, but apparently he just came out to drive around, to wave at people, and went back to the hospital. Now, if he tested positive in that cloth mask that he had on, all those Secret Servicemen in that car with him, the doctor is saying now they have to quarantine, they life at risk. Even today, he tweeted out, "Oh, I'll be leaving here by 6:30." So when he left the hospital, the media was there, and someone asked him if he was a super spreader. He just kept walking, and as he walked, I'm looking like, man. So he get on the helicopter and they take him back to the White House. He walk up the steps, get up there and take the mask off, like it's not a big deal. And even earlier today, he put out a video telling people, um, don't let the coronavirus control your life and all of that. It actually made me wonder, do he really have it? Or was this all a stunt to make people feel sorry and vote for him? You know what? um, Radio said I was suspecting fireworks. A 21 gun salute in a B-1 bomber fly over when he got back to the White House. Trump is losing his touch. What's crazy? When they broke into the program I was watching to show him leaving, I'm sitting there and I asked my wife, I said, "Hey, is he finna take a tour around the city?" I mean, they was flying around, looked like, I guess they were just turning. I thought they was making a U-turn or something, and I see people. I'm like, are they trying to do a tour or something? Let people know, hey, here I am, I'm leaving. So Trump is all about games. At this point, people, y'all have to realize, if you get the coronavirus, you would not get the same treatment he got. You would not get it. Of course, you know Trump is going to downplay it and act like there was really not much wrong. He survived it. It's not that bad. And unfortunately, that's what Trump is going to do. Yeah, I agree with you, Radio. He said he feel bad for the staff at the White House being at risk. Yes. And just yesterday, the press secretary, she was at the White House doing a press conference with no mask on. And today, it came out, she tested positive.
So if they not wearing masks during press conference, they walking around the White House without a mask on. So all those people that work at the White House, they're at risk, their family at risk, and not only that, um, when Trump found out about what's her name, the first young lady that came out said she had it, he went to a fundraiser, I think up in New York or New Jersey or somewhere. He went up there for a fundraiser the same day. Then he came back the next day. That's when he said he tested positive. So just imagine all those people at that fundraiser. Yes, Hope Hicks. Thank you, radio. I knew it was a H in it. Hope Hicks. Just imagine all those people that was at that fundraiser. Then they turn around, go back home, go back to work, and how many people they have came in contact with. And not only that, it came out that the White House is not going to try to find out. They're not going to trace a super spreader. They're not going to do a contact tracing for the super spreader. So basically, you're saying you don't care. All to protect our leader. So that's not good. I'm sure they are. He hadn't came up there and got their money, possibly exposed them to, I'm going to just say it like it is, exposed them to death. And that, like, there's nothing wrong with it. But he knew this before he went. And that's a problem within itself. He knew someone in his camp tested positive that he'd been around. But he decided, oh, I'm going to this fundraiser. He didn't care. We've been saying for the longest, only person Trump cares about is himself. And I question if he actually have it. But then when I seen the pictures, I said, yeah, he got it. He got it. It's yeah. Maybe he didn't have the tan and the tan and the can spray with him, but looking at him, I was like, yeah, he definitely got it because he's looking very light. And then a couple of pictures they showed, they supposed to have been taken 10 minutes apart. And I was like, 10 minutes apart? He looked bigger on the one on the right. And on the left, he looked pale and lighter. His presidency has been more of a disaster than I could have imagined. I knew it back when he started running. I was telling people, look, we better hope Trump do not win because it's not going to be good for nobody. It won't be. It won't be. Matter of fact, I was saying, if he win, we need to turn around and kiss our butt goodbye. And look at it, it's over 210,000 people that have lost their life. He's allegedly affected with COVID-19. Get back to the White House, get up on the steps, and take his mask off. Take his mask off. And people are okay with that? For everyone that have lost a loved one during this time, y'all need to run to the polls because he needs to get out of there. Yeah, yeah, that's not a landslide at all. But we need to make sure it's a landslide this time. We need to make sure there's no questions about it. A lot of my friends on social media, I've seen the posts where they either lost loved ones or friends, and it's sad seeing those things. It's sad seeing them. That's why this election is so important. Here it is. The same person that had a plan in place because he had such a hard on for President Obama, he come in changing everything he set up for him. Then he turned around, fired the team that was in place that's supposed to prevent a pandemic. And here it is, still today. He haven't talked about trying to replace this team. He haven't talked about anything. So do we, the way I see it, we have to hold him accountable. And November the 3rd, he gotta go. It's no ifs and buts about it. He need to go. Because he's threatening all of us. Have all of us at risk. I think he's going to contest the election result through the court system, just like in 2000. Yes, I feel like he will. That's why he's getting people in place. That's why he's trying to push the Supreme Court nominee to be able to get the upper hand. Matter of fact, I wonder, she was right there by him. I wonder if she have it. Because that's another question that should be asked. She stood right by him. Most of the people that was there, they are the ones coming out now saying that they have it. She was closer to him than most of them. So I wonder if she have it. So it's very concerning. I seen a brief story earlier. I didn't get a chance to read it before I came on, but one of her friends says she wrote a letter. Says she's very concerned about her becoming a Supreme Court nominee. Yes, it is uncharted. It is. Her friend wrote a letter for the talking about their concern about her becoming the Supreme Court nominee, and I didn't get a chance to pull it up, but I'm telling you, this election is very important. They need to put this nominee on hold until the next president come in, and because we got to look at it like this: if he able to put the people he want to put up there, this is not just going to last for 4 years. This could last up to 40 years because that is a lifetime position. And actually, I don't feel like it should be a lifetime position. Give him a good 5 to 10 years and tell them that it's time for them to move on. That's the way it should be. Tell them, hey, your time is up. Because at some point, they're not actually going to be doing the work anymore. They're going to have interns doing them. And so I feel like they should have 5 to 10 years max. Get them out of there. Or better yet, let's change it every 4 years. Just like most elected official. 4 years. Same as the president. Get them out. Let's move on. But hopefully she's not nominated. Hopefully they decide to wait. Barrett is a member of the religion group called People of Faith. It's an organization of 1,700 members that must donate 5% of their income. Sound like a cult to me. Now, is that 5% per year or what? Either way, well, I guess it depends. If they paying their tithes, that's 5%. Not bad, but still, I don't know. It's kind of shady. It's real shady because she's coming in and already talking about changing Roe versus Wade. And okay, 5% per year. Okay. That's not bad. I guess it's not, because we should pay 10% of our tithes. So we should be paying 10%. But still, is it truly a religious organization, or is it something they just call religion just for status? Yeah, I'm just asking because, um, I'm trying to see if I can pull it up because, hold on. But either way, um, it's not good. They need to hold off on before they make a decision about it, because it's not for the people. That's only to benefit Trump. Um, it's only to benefit Trump, and that's all it is. Trump is trying to cover his tail because he knows, he already know. Probably once he get out of office, he's gonna have charges brought up on him, and he need to go. A judge or Capone to rescue themselves from hearing cases that conflict with their religious belief. Okay. Um, it. I don't know. I'm just like, hey, when it's dealing with anybody who's dealing with Trump that praises Trump, I have an issue with, because I cannot see how can a person follow that lead. Um, and I would think most females, when that tape came out, when he was talking about grabbing the ladies by the cuckoo, um, I felt like a lot of females would not have supported him. But then again, it's a lot of people that do. A lot of people that think That's okay. I've seen people crying because he tested positive for COVID. But here it is. You are the same ones that are following his lead. Don't want don't want to wear a mask. Want to go into all these places without wearing a mask, and you think it's okay. At some point, you have to say enough is enough. He been telling you for months. Not only that, when it came out that he lied to us about how serious this virus was, people seem like they supported him even more. We got to wake up and realize that, hey, something not right. Something is not right. Why is this man lying to us? He lying to us for what reason? He don't have a reason for lying. T-Cal said they support an absolute blind faith, but don't realize he cares nothing about people. Radio said it happened throughout history. Some people will follow terrible leaders, and T-Cal added to hers nothing at all. And it don't make sense. It don't make sense at all. You're following somebody who's leading you down a dark path. You don't have the same privilege like he has. You're not going to get the same treatment like he is. But you want to do the same thing like him. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, he don't care. He don't care at all. T-Cap said exactly through fear or incompetence. I think it's a little both. I think it's mentally. They just don't care. Just because this guy's been a bully, he's been a bully, and they support him. Being a bully don't make you a man. It don't make you a powerful person. It's just showing your weakness. That's all it's doing, showing your weakness as a person. You have to bully someone to make yourself feel good, to make yourself look good to people. So it's time. It's time to make a change. T-Cal said, either way, we have to move on from the folks because they're nothing saying people can do to help. I think it is. Some people just need counseling. They need to realize. That's why I said that at night on the show. I said, you know what? How these Proud Boys are making these threats. I feel like it's a mental thing. Those are things they've been taught. They've been taught to make threats, to try to intimidate a person. And when it's all said and done, if they just take a couple of minutes to actually get to know someone, they will have a different thought pattern. Welcome to the show, 91 Crime Z. First time seeing your name on the show. Welcome to the show. Please like, share, click the notification, let your friends know we are live. They want to know who's going to make that change. A president? I don't think so. It's up to us as people to put pressure on those that can make a change. That's why it's very important for us to get out and vote, not just for the presidential election, but our local elections also. Every election that comes around, we need to vote. If the leaders are not doing what we feel they should be doing, vote them out. Vote them out. There's no reason why we have the top cop in Texas that was brought up on charges for fraud 5 years ago, and now he just been brought up on more charges where people in his office, 7 people signed the letter saying he have committed um, crimes, bribery, um, abuse of power of his office. He need to go. He need to go. And we as the people need to get out and make sure we vote him out. Right now, any politician that is following Trump, they're all nervous. They know Trump is leading them down the wrong way. But it takes the people of that state, that city, that county to get these people out of office. That's why it's very important to vote. Like I said earlier, here in Texas, you have until midnight. You'll have to go to the now in Dallas, because I think Fort Worth cutoff time was at 7, but here in Dallas, you have until midnight to get it to the main post office. Your voter registration card. If you have not registered to vote, you have until midnight to get it to the main post office off of 30 and Sylvia, for it can be post-dated today. Also, a lot of people say they didn't know they could get their voter rights back if they have a felon, if they are a felon. If you not having to pay your dues, you off papers, you could go to voter.org and you can find out in 30 seconds if you could get your voter rights back. Depends on your state. But most of the time, if you have paid all your dues and you're not on paper, you could get them back. So you have until midnight here in Dallas. Radio said, I heard a Trump supporter on TV say he would die for Trump. Yeah, okay. I've seen videos of people crying when they found that he had COVID-19. So, and one person even in the middle of crying, he talking about if he died, the Proud Boys are coming. We're coming. I'm like, okay. 91 Crimes said, let's be honest here, sir. There's a lot more to it than making a vote. It's way deeper than that. Yes, it is. But here it is. And 91 Crimes, please correct me if we're on the same page or if you have a different opinion. The way I see it, we get out and vote. We also need to make sure we know our local officials, starting at the mayor of the city council, going to those meetings. Well, right now the meetings are virtual, so you have to sign up for those, and make sure you know the police chief, because if something happened in our cities, if they see you enough and know enough about you, they're gonna understand that you're not about playing games. They're gonna understand that, hey, if something going down in my city, you're gonna have to see me. I'm coming to complain. I want to know why this is happening in my city. But as for the local election, that's where our laws are made from. So it's definitely very important to vote locally as well as the federal level, because if we vote local for these politicians that having charges brought up on them while they in office, while they're being protected, we'll send them a message. If we have like our governor Greg Abbott, he come up, he want to rush and open the state back up. Like Trump said, even though our numbers are going up, or was going up at that time, he want to rush and open it back. So we have to say, you know what? Apparently, you don't care about our lives. Here it is, over 210,000 lives in America been lost. I believe America's is as for the handling of the coronavirus. I want to say we probably one of the worst country that handled it. We have over 1 million people just in America alone that been affected by it, and 210,000 lives lost and still counting. So yeah, we need to vote locally as well as the federal level and make sure these people know if you running, we're going to hold you accountable. And we need to make them change the laws. Change the laws, because there's no reason for us to continue to have killings of unarmed black and brown people. It's no reason why that should happen. Now you cannot eat ice cream on your couch from a cop, assuming she went to the wrong apartment. But what happened to announcing yourself? You just walked in and shot that man. Can't get stopped and be treated like everybody else. We need to hold them accountable. That's why we need a vote. 91 Crime Z said, that's when you getting dealt with, like all our revolution. Well, what exactly do you mean that's when you're getting dealt with? I'm kind of confused on that part, but please explain it. But we need to take a stand. We need to make sure we are voting every election, because every election is important. They would not spend all that money to put an election on if it wasn't important. That's why we can have the Ken Paxton, who was charged 5 years ago of a crime, and he just going around from court to court to prolong it. And just this weekend, the FBI is investigating him now. So you're telling me nobody else knew this was going on? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. We need to make sure we hold our elected officials accountable. And if they do not do what they say, we need to make sure they're not reelected. Because it shouldn't be that hard to literally go out. You coming around reaching out to people when it's election time, and you don't do what you say you was going to do. So basically, you just lied to us from the beginning. Radio said, I heard Biden is up 14 points in polls as of today. He's up a lot. That's why Trump left the hospital. That's why he left Walter Reed. Because that's why he also decided to do that drive around to wave at people, to show he's strong. He's okay. Man, you sick. You sick. And he get to the White House today and pull that mask off like it was no problem. No, you sick. You keep that mask on. Even that doctor, come to find out, when the doctors gave the news, gave the update of him, that was what he wanted them to say. That doctor had to come back and apologize. It said he wasn't completely honest. He had to come back and apologize because He wasn't honest. Yes, he's a very damaged person. Welcome to the show, Robin. And welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. How's the baby doing tonight? Um, but we need to make sure November the 3rd, we get out and vote and we make a difference. I don't care what nobody say. We need to make sure our voice are heard loud and clear. We're not taking this anymore. We're not. That's just like, um, that's good. Glad to hear. That's just like the Attorney General up in Kentucky. He lied about Breonna case. Now they're talking about bringing a grand jury again. He never should have had that case. Once it came out that um, they wanted the boyfriend to lie, to say that he was a part of, she was a part of the drug ring, they should have removed that case from him. But it stayed there, and here we are. Here we are. So, yeah, we definitely need to vote. We all need to vote come November the 3rd. Matter of fact, here in Texas, early voting start on the 13th next week. So we need to get out and start voting early. Beat the rush. Get out and vote. I don't know. I I I hope it's to the point where there's no questions. Hope it's to the point where we know for sure Biden win on both. Knowing Trump, he's going to question anything that happened. He already told the Carolinas to vote twice. Um, he's already made the comment telling people to poll watch, the Pride Boys to poll watch, and basically trying to intimidate people. And we're not going to go for that. We're not. What needs to happen, if anybody across this world is having problem um, with election intimidation, contact the Secretary of State, and they have teams available that could get there real quick. We won't have intimidation in 2020 trying to prevent people from voting. Not in Texas, we won't. Not in my area, we won't. So it needs to be one of those things where we need to get out and vote. Take a friend to the poll with you to make sure their voice is heard too. Robin said, "Yep, one of the biggest cover-up we've ever seen." Yep, it is. It is. No, uh, Texas don't play, but a certain part of Texas that is, you might be outnumbered, but either way, when it come down to the election, they're not gonna be able to intimidate people. They will try it though. They will, but it's not gonna happen. They can talk. They can make these threats. Trump can tell them to go poll watch or whatever. Yeah, they could go poll watch. They could be out there all they want to. But guess what? What goes on in that poll, they cannot control that. They can't control any of that. They can stand outside and pretend like they're gonna intimidate somebody. Mm-mm. Then on top of that, a lot of our elections are held at schools. So if they coming on school grounds armed, that's a felony anyway. So I know there's a lot of other people, a lot of other places opening up. We have churches that are polling location. We have um, the Dallas Mavericks arena that is opening up for a poll place, and there are several other places that are opening up. So we need to take advantage of it. There's no reason why we won't be able to vote. So do not take the threats that are being made. That's all to try to get people scared to keep them from voting. If you have any problems, you could definitely welcome to the show, Jeannie Evans. She came back too. You could definitely, if you have any problems, like I said, contact your Secretary of State, and they would send someone out immediately because that's what they're supposed to do. Be able to protect all voters. Um, um, to allow everyone to be able to um, get out and vote. Um, I'm doing good. How you doing tonight? Um, so I'm trying to see election protection hotline. This should be a nationwide number. If someone have a problem with I'm gonna put it up. If someone have a problem with voting, well, let me make sure that's the right one. Make sure this is the correct number I'm putting up before I do it. I want to say this is the correct number, but they can, if you have a problem, if you have a problem while you're at the polls, they can direct you to the right place. I know the Secretary of State is one of them, but they should have a number right on hand that they can advise you to call if you're having a problem. So you could definitely call that number if you have a problem at the poll. They can tell you exactly what to do and who to call, and they can dispatch someone out there. Robin said, "We seen the Republicans from Trump on down doing the most to try to rid this election from messing with the post office to voter suppression as well as straight intimidation." Yes, because I think it was in Virginia when early voting started. They had people rallying outside the polls, um, talking about Trump 2020, trying to intimidate people from going to vote, and we cannot deal with that. Welcome, John, watching on Facebook. Thank you for joining this show. You can always chat live with us in the chat room. Also, if you're just tuning in, I asked the question tonight. After the election, what changes would you like to see in America? What would you like to see different? Me personally, I know it's gonna take a while, but I want laws change. That's why it's important that we vote locally. Get these folks that is following Trump lead out of office. Get them out. Um, I also wanted where the real history of America is actually taught in school. Taught in school. That's why on Thursday night with Risky, we give history of different massacres that have taken place here in America. Uh, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been talking about massacres that took place with um, Native American. So it's amazing how we have all these different massacres that took place in the history of America, but you could barely find those in the history books. I feel like history should be taught from at least the fourth grade all the way to the end. They need to know the real history of America, not what Trump talking about, as he said about TikTok. Um, Want them to pay $5,000 to um no $5 billion to go toward teaching the history of America. A month before, he was telling people, you better know your history of America. Well, the history of America is not all that great. So, to be honest with you, everything haven't been peaches and cream. Robin said, as far as changes go, we need common sense change in law enforcement. Yes, we do. We need to change the law so cops are not above the damn law. You're exactly right. I mentioned that earlier. We need to hold these cops accountable. We need a whole lot of elected officials accountable because I mentioned last night about our top cop, um, about the bribery charge that have came up on him. 5 years ago, he had fraud charges brought up on him. And 3 years after the charges, he was reelected. He was reelected in 2018. But those charges have been against him for 5 years. Radio asked, well, how can that happen? How did he get reelected? That's because people do not take the local election serious. It's no way he should have been reelected. It shouldn't been. He shouldn't been. Once those charges came up, he should have been out of office. Um, yes, yes. I feel like we should make it where the cops should be sued. Because if you do the math, all of these killings, injuries that are happening behind cops, we the ones paying for it. Our tax dollars paying for it. So we need to make sure the cops are held accountable. You start hitting them in their pocket, they will stop it. They would think first. Now, I'm not saying all incidents are not justified because if your life is threatened, that's one thing. Yeah, their life is threatened. You got to protect yourself. But when you have an unarmed person like Jonathan Price on Saturday that was killed here in Wolf City, and here it is, he was unarmed. He seen a woman that was being abused, and he tried to intervene to prevent it. But the cop came up, and because he seen a black man, he automatically felt like he was guilty. He was the judge and the jury and sentenced him to death. And that's not right. Radio said we threw a politician out of office for using a city-owned boy, Canada don't play a city-owned wood chipper for his own personal use. That's the type of power we need. That's exactly what we need. Because here it is. Our tax dollars pay for it, but you taking it for your own personal use? Mm-mm. That's not why we paid for it. We paid for it we can have it. Our sheriff here took all of the overtime money from the budget and kept it for it. He'd need to be in jail. Kept it for himself. All that happened was he was fired. Took thousand signed dollars from us taxpayers to pay the entire force with a real repercussion. See, that's what we need to get rid of. The thing is, and there's another mishap, a misunderstanding, or people just don't want to understand. When people say defund the police, it's not talking about getting rid of the police department. But see, that's what Trump make it seem like. Oh, defunding the police, we can't get rid of our cops. Greg Abbott here, our governor, said that defunding the police is going to cause crimes to come into your neighborhood. Had people talking about crimes that are already happening in Austin, Texas, and the crimes rate have gone up, and they use that scare tactic to make people believe what they're saying is true, but it's not. Defunding the police is basically holding them accountable, taking that overtime away from them. Why spend that overtime when we have cops going out on a mental health call for a 13-year-old boy that see the police run away from them and get shot? That time could have went to somebody who was trained for that. Now, guess what? That city is going to have to pay for that young man's medical bill. They also going to have to open up their checkbook. I'm not sure if a lawsuit already been filed, but I'm sure one coming. I'm sure one is coming. That's what we mean about defunding the police. I've seen some cities, some cops have made, I forgot where that was. Some cops have made over $200,000 a year from overtime. $200,000 a year for overtime. With all the overtime they had. Now, the problem is with that, here it is, teachers, most teachers don't, I don't think no teacher really make that type of money. You got to be high up to make that type of money. Radio said we had Trump like politician up here a few years ago. Rob Ford was the mayor of Toronto, who was caught on video smoking crack cocaine. He ended up being on all the late night talk shows. I wonder why. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. We hell who was it? Chris Christie? He was smoking. I think he was the governor of either New York or New Jersey. I get them confused. But he was smoking. Hell, what's going on, Marcella? Welcome to the show. Another faithful listener. Then also, Robin said, I saw this meme saying how people are up in arms about defunding the police, yet they're being used to verbiage defund public school for years. School not important to most of them. That's why they following Trump. Allegedly, they may not be educated. They go by with what people tell them instead of learning it for themselves. So, yeah, It's people gonna follow people. That's why I say all the time, before we talk about a story on here, we do research. We do research. And to do one show, I probably spend 4 to 5 hours trying to prepare for a show. And sometimes what I do, I try to get as much subject in as possible, especially if something is hot on that day. I try to get as much in as I can, and sometimes I just have to roll it over to the next day and to the next show, because we want to make sure we putting out correct information. Um, exactly. That's another problem. Matter of fact, I think last week we had somebody come on here that was talking about Trump 2020, and then uh, they end up saying it must be true. I seen it on the internet. Yeah, that internet. You can't believe everything you see. Everything you see on that internet is not true, especially not with technology today. Because when you take somebody's photo and put it on somebody else's body, you know that's not real. So, yeah, technology today is a lot wrong with it. I would love to be able to do more things on the show, trying to learn this system. They keep changing this system. So I keep trying to do more things, and want to be able to show like some videos from things that we actually talk about on the show, for y'all can see it for yourself and not taking my word. You can actually see it. So I'm still working on that part. What's going on, Sig? Haven't seen you in a while. It's going great. Tonight, the question is, after the election, what changes would you like to see in America? We talked about Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, the charges brought up on him, and also Trump leaving the hospital today, and then take his mask off once he get back to the White House and put it in his pocket. So then he did a drive-by yesterday. Want to do the photo op to pass by for people can take pictures and wave at them as if everything is okay. So, uh, exactly. We didn't hear this until Trump got into office. Radio said, I can't keep up with all the conspiracy theories right now. You never heard this crap just a few years ago. It's bad. Even here in Texas, um, we have certain people who I never heard of before running for office in different counties that is here within Dallas County, not in my county, but they in the DFW area. And one of the things they say on their ads are, I'm a I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman or a businesswoman. Basically, that's the same thing Trump used when he ran. And we see how that worked for us then. Trump said the same thing. I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. And as we can see, he's a businessman that had filed bankruptcy, 7 times, I think? Allegedly 7 times. We know he haven't paid no taxes. Hell, waitress had paid more taxes than him. So, like he said, he's a businessman, not a politician. And he still won't show all his taxes. He said saying the same thing. We know he's a businessman. Of course we know. And not a great businessman. He's not a great businessman at all. But we also have to look at this. Coming up, um, if he win this next election, he have a debt of over $400 million due to somebody. And we don't know who. I'm just saying. A debt of 400 million, that's a national threat within itself because he's sitting in a power to do whatever he want to do. He can lie and end up having us to pay that debt. Ready on that rug again. That rug was looking kind of rough yesterday. I was like, yeah, he wasn't that orange, and that rug was looking kind of light. I said, yeah, he needed to do something with it. And he treat people and people's lives as a business. That's awful. It's very awful. No way you have to be smart enough to be able to switch between the two. And Trump don't have that knowledge because he's so used to being a bully to get his way. I'm the boss. You're going to do it my way or no way. That's the type of mindset that Trump has. Exactly. The press conference I seen a piece of today, they actually said they will be keeping a close eye on him. Also, even though he have medical staff at the White House, but the first lady, she didn't leave the White House. She been there receiving treatment the whole time. But it's going to be interesting. And I really have a feeling the reason why that doctor came back and changed his statement and admit that he wasn't being totally truthful is because somebody probably told him, look, you cannot lie for that man. If you're going to give an update, you need to be honest, because if not, that could go against your medical license. People can file a complaint because you lied. And we know you're lying for it. And he even said that he's not out of the woods yet. With him going back to the White House, he's not out of the woods. They had to give him steroids. And when you having to get steroids for your breathing, you're in bad shape. So that doctor didn't have a choice but to come out and say it. Had him over on the bench, holding his head like he about to cry. He probably finna lose his job, probably. Because they know he was lying. Radio said he's on a pretty strong steroid right now. Some doctor said you don't let people out the hospital when they are on that strong of a medication. Exactly. And this is the same person when they said 200,000 people have lost their lives to the virus. He said it is what it is. It is what it is. Same person that lied to us about this virus, that said for months, oh, it will blow over. It's okay. It's not that serious. And then have to come, and during that time, he's telling somebody who is not part of the White House, this is very serious. It's worse than the flu. But then he had to admit it because the guy's coming out with a book. He's coming out with a book. That's why I said think it was Saturday morning when I heard the update on him. I said, you know what? It sounded like that doctor was getting ready to say, make America great again. But he said, make him great again. And I'm like, that's a prepared speech they did. Um, yeah, the fact is that he act like he's not a human. He doesn't have consideration for human. He doesn't give a damn. No, he don't. He don't. He don't care about nobody. He care about his likes, his followers. But if people really open their eyes and pay attention to what he's doing, it's not good. It's not good. Eventually, they're going to realize, you know what? Trump lied to us. Trump lied to us. And eventually, they're going to have to accept the fact that they made a mistake. Now, I know it's some of them, they'll never admit they made a mistake. They would never admit they made a mistake by supporting him. Sid said, I can't understand how can people support him. I can't understand either. Now, I will say, back in the days, I guess, he probably have it all trimmed up today. Cause matter of fact, somebody mentioned about they had to bring somebody in to do his makeup or get him ready for cameras and all of that. So that's another person at risk. That'll be on his tax write-off this year, though. I had to pay them $100,000 to come do my hair and get me looking good for the cameras. hmm So, about when I first started driving trucks over 20 years ago, I used to go up to Chicago quite a bit. So, if I have to stay there overnight or something, I would take the company car and go over to Gary, Indiana, to his casino. I didn't think nothing about it. I'm like, hey, I'm going over here, kill some time. Okay. Had the opportunity to see Michael Jordan up in there one night. I was like, cool. But if I know what I know today, there's no way I would have done that. No way. Because here it is. When Central Park 5 happened, I was a child. I didn't hear about those things. But what I know today, I would not support him if it was just him and I on Earth left. I would not support him. He just, well, I take that back. I'd be lying. I'm a kind-hearted person, but it'd be hard for me to support him. I would not support him. I would not stay at any of his hotels. I don't care if it's free. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't. Welcome to the show, Loving My Kinks. Loving My Kinks. First time on the show, live. People support Trump belief and they use politics to justify them. Yes, they do. Thank you for tuning in. Love My Kinks. Yeah, they definitely support him. A lot of them people support him. It's kind of like, for instance, it's kind of like people support certain people just to say, "Oh, I'm supporting them because they the They the outspoken person, and that's it. See, guys, do you think Trump is a racist? I said I'm getting better. Yes, I do. Strong question. You're not obligated to answer, of course. Yes, I feel like he is, because if you what I know today about him, yes, he is. He been sued many of times because he did not want minorities to live on his property in his housing apartments. Then also the way that he did Central Park 5, it was 5 young men, black guys, that was accused of rape. He took out a huge ad and said they should be lynched in the newspaper. These young men went to jail, spent several years in jail, and they was innocent. They was innocent. Now, the problem is they got out of jail. A movie was made about them. You can pull up Central Park 5, and you can pull them up. Great movie. One of the young men ended up committing suicide because of all the abuse he got while he was in jail. So, and he couldn't deal with it. So, do I think Donald Trump is a racist? I do. I do. I really do. Because of his actions. When he talked about President Obama's birth certificate, here it is. You won't show your taxes. Yeah, he's a racist. Yes, he is. Love my king say, hey, I'm sorry. So to answer your question, yes, he's a racist. Last week in the debate, when he said, Proud Boys, stand down, stand by. I don't know if you know who the Proud Boys are, but the Proud Boys is a racist group, a terrorist group. So yes, he's a racist, and it's not. I know you said it's a strong question. I'm not obligated to answer, but I give you my honest opinion. You ask the question, I would tell you straight up front my answer, no matter what it is. Um, Radio said Trump supporter traded their country for a red hat. There you go, radio. A lot of them did, just because he had a slogan on there. And my question to Trump is, when was America great for everybody? It haven't been. It haven't been. It been good uh, for mostly white folks. When I had someone put in the chat one time, oh, y'all should start your own business. Well, we done that. What happened? They bumped it. That was the Black Wall Street. In Chicago also, down in Florida. In I believe it was Wilmington, North Carolina. Um, they held positions, elected officials. That city was basically ran by black people. But then they seen how the black people was thriving so much in that city. They started making threats. If you go vote for them, we're gonna arrest you. We're gonna kill you. We're gonna do this. Gonna do that. And that's how they got power. So yes, Donald Trump is a racist. Now my king said, "Yep, he went all out to send those boys to jail. Yes, he did. He did, and not even knowing the facts. And here it is. they're still, I think they all are still damaged because of that. I forgot how many years they spent in prison behind a lie. So yeah, Trump is a racist. Um, Perfect. I'm absolutely agreeing with you. We think the same way. I only know one way of being, and that's honest and truthful. I don't I don't have time to lie. I was playing poker when before we came on lockdown, but I'm so honest. If I was playing poker and if someone asked me if I had the best hand, I tell them yes. They ask me, "Do you have this?" I sure do. They won't believe me, but then when I beat them, they like, "Oh, you really don't lie." No, I don't. You ask, I'm gonna give you an answer. I'm gonna tell you the truth. So, he also says, so at this point, how can people support him if he's also a racist? What a shame. It is a shame. It is. Some people support him for the simple fact that's how they was raised. They were raised that white is superior, all other fall up in the white. That's not that's not true. This world will be much better if we treated everybody right. And they was taught that's the way they was taught from a birth to today. That's what they believe. And that's why I say if some of these folks that's coming out making these threats, if they actually took the time to sit and talk to someone different, they would learn something. That's just like when we have people come on here and make racist comment. I invite them, come on the show. Told a dude last night, I said, man, look, here's my email. Send me an email and I'll send you the link to come on the show. Give you that opportunity to express yourself. He had to go. He didn't want to do it. So that's how they do. They can hide behind keyboards, but I'm completely different. I'm gonna invite you on the show. I'm gonna be like, hey, here's my email. Send me a link. I'll send you a link for you can come on the show with me. We can have open dialogue. They don't want to do it. I put my phone number out on the show. They don't want to call. That's because they want to hide behind the keyboard and talk that mess. But I'm completely different. I don't mind inviting somebody on here. So, uh, thank you for your courage. You are brave. You're good, and I'm with you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Um, love, love my king said that's because they are racist. Yes, they are. They are. It's a lot of them. A lot of them have put their ancestors wore their sheets. They was taught to put their sheets down to pick up a uniform, a robe, or a nice suit. And that doesn't change them. It's still bred it in them from deep down their childhood. They're still racist. You could put lipstick on a pig, but guess what? It's still a pig. It's still pork. So that's just how it is. That's the society that we live in today. And people don't want to accept that fact. It's just when we have a leader like Trump that is pouring gas on the fire, that's why it's so open now because of Trump. Before Trump, people when they would keep it on the down low. They wouldn't say anything about it. They kept it to themselves or amongst people in a circle. But now Trump get him power to be able to speak it openly. That's why we see all these videos of Karens charging folks up, or Steve's trying to do stuff to different people. So yeah, it's Trump is a racist. When he give praises to people talking about white power, if you think that's okay and you retweet it, you're a racist. You had the perfect opportunity last week to say you do not support the Klansmen. You don't support the Proud Boys, and you wouldn't say it. You refused to say it. Instead, you said, Proud Boys, stand down and stand by. That's something a racist would say. That's just like when he ran for the election last time. He said he didn't know who David Dukes was. But then he tried to give David Duke a position in his cabin. But he didn't know who he was. So, yeah, we all know who David Duke is. But Trump didn't know. That's a racist. That's a racist. And another thing, want everybody to pay attention to. And maybe he been doing it the whole time. I don't know. But lately, when he's in front of a camera, he always get a thumb up. Then he hold up the fist like this, as if he's saying the black soul fist. I'm like, I never really paid attention to him doing that before, but I've been noticing him doing it quite a bit lately. So, yeah, Trump is a racist. I said it. I won't take it back. That's not allegedly. That's truthful. His action have proved that. He's a bully and a racist that don't care about nobody but himself. And I will say allegedly pervert, but for him to say his daughter got a nice hot piece of tail, that's a pedophile to me. Why are you looking at your daughter like that? I'm just saying. So, yeah, I feel like he is a racist. And I think you said you're actually in Italy, I believe. I can't remember if you're in Italy or where you were. Definitely let me know where you're tuning in at. But that's what the show is all about, to give people a platform to be able to speak their mind, whatever is going on, whatever they want to talk about. As long as you are respectful, you're able to talk about whatever you want to. Tonight, I asked the question, after the election in November, what changes would you like to see here in America? What changes would you like to see? It's so many I would like to see, but I want to see our laws change. Yeah, I can say that, but I hope he don't. I hope he don't. Yeah, I heard that too. They say that Trump gonna win 2020, then Don Jr. 2024. I don't see that happening. I really don't think that's gonna happen. It'll be hard for that to happen because people are not gonna be too friendly of him after the way his daddy did. So I don't see it happening. Sid said, I would like to be able to open people's mind and let them think, let them understand that will that we all should have the same rights. We all are human, white, black, yellow, pink, it doesn't matter. Exactly. Exactly. Um, we're all equal. Because when it's said and done, if I cut my finger, you cut your finger, guess what? Our blood the same. It doesn't matter. And people have this thing about color. It shouldn't be about color. I treat people the same way they treat me. And I have a habit of dealing with some people, and once because I'm a big black man, but here it is. I've had people to come and tell me, "Man, I always thought you was a mean guy until I known you." Exactly. Don't judge me by the way I look. Get to know me. Get to know me. You would understand. Sig also said, "Where do you think that hate for black people came from? Is it there? Is there an answer? Because I can't understand it." Well, first of all, it started long time ago. Um, it's where it actually started from because when they brought our ancestors over from Africa, um, a lot of work needed to be done on the lands. They didn't want to do it. So they sold this false dream to have us to come here, our ancestors to come, and basically for them to do the work. They tried to keep our ancestors from reading. They tried to, uh, they really didn't want them to go to church either. But during that time, in order to control our ancestors, they would beat them, hang them, molest our women and kids. Um, when some of our ancestors were had more manhood than them, it been recorded. Some chopped it off out of jealousy, and because we could do things better than them, they didn't like that. So the way to control it was to do all the other things: rape, kill, whatever they felt they needed to do. Sell our ancestor in slavery. They felt like they own the property. So the reason why they don't like black people, I think we intimidate them. That's probably have to be the best answer I could give because we intimidated them. And because they feel like we was a threat, they will take, and I'm just assuming I wasn't there back then, 400 years ago. Um, I would assume when they found that we was a threat, they would take someone or they would have multiple people. Because if you notice back in the old days, when it came down to hanging and stuff like that, they would bring a mob of people for one person. They would have them outnumbered to do whatever they wanted to do to that person. And with that mob, it intimidated them so much that they went along with it. But I'm like this. I think if it was 1-on-1 back then, I don't. I feel like slavery wouldn't have happened if it was 1-on-1. It would have been some butt kicking going on because they cannot do it 1-on-1. They had to bring a mob of people to do it. So yeah, I would say they was intimidated because we are much bigger and stronger than most of them, and it's intimidation. That's all it is. And hopefully, I answered that good for you, but that's my opinion. I'm not a history major, but given my opinion, my true opinion, that's what I feel like it is. Intimidation. They felt like we're a threat. Um, when I was going out playing poker, um, I would have people because I laugh, I joke, I have fun, no matter what. And people felt like I was intimidating. This one young lady, I call her young, but she was older. Um, she actually, as I always said, she looked like Lucille Ball, looked like she could have been her twin sister, and she seemed like she was mad all the time. I say something, she roll her eyes at you, and I'm like, okay. I started calling her my BFF. And when I started calling her that, all of a sudden she started coming around laughing and joking with me because I was determined to change her mind. I know she probably didn't give a damn about me. But once she got to know me, she was like, started calling me her BFF, laughing with me, having a good time. But she could have been doing that for years if she didn't have that attitude or if she wasn't intimidated by the color of my skin and my size. So, yeah, it's, I'm going to say a lot of people is intimidated by black folks. That's probably the best way to do it. Radio said, I don't think he will. He'll be too damaged from all the speedballs he does to campaign. Well, allegedly his daddy got away with it. I don't think people will elect him again or elect Junior, but I think now there will be some people try to push it, but what's going to determine that? What's going to determine that is what happened November the 3rd. That's going to be the biggest outcome. Because if people vote Trump in again, he probably will win. If Trump lose, and depends on what Trump does when he do lose, he already said he don't know if he's going to leave the White House or not. Well, if you lose, you don't have a choice. You do not have a choice. You got to go. So, with that being said, I think it's going to be interesting. If he choose he don't want to leave, at that point you're no longer the president. You got to go by any means necessary. Radio said, I think Jim Jordan or Matt Getsy will run in 2020. Get ready. I haven't researched them. I would say this, and I had people to talk about independent and stuff like that. I guess a couple of months ago, somebody was talking about I should vote independent. No, I don't know this person. If there's a independent person that is looking at running in 2024, after November the 3rd, November the 4th, you need to start campaigning. Get your name out there beforehand. Don't wait until a month and a half, 2 months before and talking about you running. Um, that's not going to work. People need to know about you beforehand. Um, so who gonna run for 2024? I have no idea. James Daniel Jordan. Um, possibility. He may. I don't know the work he's done. Um, to be honest with you, I don't know. By him being it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because if Trump lose this year, it's gonna be very hard for them to reelect another Republican. It may be 8 years before we get another Republican because of the way that Trump done it. Um, okay, there are two guys who act like Trump in the House of Representatives. Yeah, but I think come 4 years from now, it's really gonna depend on who win in November. If Trump win in November, they have a chance. If he lose, which I'm hoping he do, it's gonna be a while before another Republican get in. It will be a while because the thing is, people are fed up. People are upset at how this whole pandemic was handled. The lives that have been lost, the lies that have been told to us. People are pissed. Be straight up honest with you. They are pissed. Um, but I really feel like is if Trump lose next month, it may actually be 16 years before we get another Republican. I think we'll go through if Biden Harris win, and I'm saying if they go in and do what they say they're gonna do, they will get a second term. But if they go in and unfed us this BS, they won't. They will have one term. Now, if Biden Harris do win, and they do exactly what they say they're gonna do, I feel that Senator Harris would be able to run after that, and I think she will be able to hold it down. So it's just depends. But then again, we have been surprised because it may be somebody up and coming that is grooming right now. And 4 years from now, they may pop up and say, you know what? I have the record. I've done the work. Look at my background. So it just, oh yeah, I can't wait for it. Said in my country it's pretty late. Thanks for being honest with us. Good evening and have a good stream. See y'all next time. It's always good to share opinion with you. I appreciate it, and always come back. Tell a friend. Click the notification. I know it's late there, and it's 10 p.m. here, so definitely always come back. Radio said, "Oh yeah, the vice presidential debate is on Wednesday. Going to be very interesting. Very interesting." I was telling my wife the other day, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Pence don't come out and say he have COVID at the last minute. I'm just saying. because he already know his hands gonna be full come Wednesday, and I don't think he wanna. I wouldn't recommend him trying to disrespect her because her husband would be there. Um, I'm just saying it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna definitely be watching it, and I'm not gonna commit to a Wednesday show because we normally don't do it. And but Thursday with Miss Risky, we would definitely be talking about it. Uh, Radio said Pence is a strange guy. He is, but as quiet as it kept, they say he's worse than Trump. See, here in America, I don't know if y'all have the same issues we do. It's the quiet ones you got to watch out for. Uh, he don't say a whole bunch, but sometimes it's the quiet ones you have to watch out for. But hey, each his own. It's going to be interesting Wednesday. I will be watching that one live. That's not a regular day we do shows, but I would definitely be watching. Then on Thursday, Miss Risky and I will talk about it on Thursday and go from there. I'm saying that, but depends on what happened Wednesday during the debate. I may decide to do a late show, but I'm not gonna commit to that just yet. So but I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. I appreciate all of your comments. Robin, Jeannie, Sig, Radio Chaos, T-Cal. I love my kinks, who is a new listener. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody else. Marcella Smith. Who else? It was somebody else came on here. 91 Crimes. And it seemed like it was someone else at the beginning. Tiny Dancer. I appreciate all of you for coming on, Charles Hunt. And anyone I cannot see, because if I don't see your name pop up, doesn't mean I'm forgetting about you. Radio said politics is pretty boring up here, just the way I like it. Yeah, they can be, but we definitely need to make sure we keeping them on their toes. We need to follow them, because when they too bored, that's when people lose interest and people able to do things they ain't supposed to. So, and unfortunately, that's how it is everywhere. People get so comfortable just looking at the news and talking about all the stuff that's going on. And I'm like, hey, I'm like this. Probably, to be straight up honest with you, probably once if Trump lose next month, we probably won't be talking about politics a whole bunch, because won't be too much news to talk about it. Yes, it could. It can happen everywhere, and I've seen other debate. It was one I looked at, and this this particular debate, of course, they had them spread it apart, but this one guy, he was like in a glass shield or something during the debate to make sure he was protected. So I'm like, hey, you have to do that this day and time. And then the mudslinging that some of them do is ridiculous. They would do anything to try to win. My thing is, what are you going to do for me and my community? What are you going to do to try to help change the community, make it better? Make it better. So And I'm not talking about the Trump type of making it better. Um, I'm talking about actually doing something, keeping your word, the promise that you made in order for people to elect you. Keep those promises for we can hold you accountable. If not, we're done. Uh, you'll be a one-term person, just like Biden and Harris. I say all the time. Yeah, they the best thing that can beat Trump today. But if they don't do the things they say they're gonna do 4 years from now, if I'm still doing this, I'm be like, look, they have to go too. They have to, and that's just the way it is. We need to make a difference. We need to vote every election, including the local election. We need to. And at this point, if you don't vote, you can't complain about anything. That's why it's important that we vote at every election. So, but hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. I will be back tomorrow night. Uh, uh T Cal said, "Get out and vote, get Trump out." Exactly. We have to. We need to get out and vote him out. He got to go. He got to go. Have a good night, radio, and everyone else. T Cal said, change the world. Yes, we need to change it. We need to show that American is not this weak country as Trump portrayed us to be. So we need to make sure we make a difference, get it changed, and let's move forward. Let's rebuild our country for we could go start thriving again to do better things for America and make our laws equal for everybody. Vote these people out that only look at one-sided law. And if you haven't listened to our show on YouTube, the one uh, black, the difference between black crime and black and white crimes, the difference, you need to check that show out because we basically went through, we had crimes that was committed between a black person and a white person, the exact same crime, and it was different times. The black person always got more time. So definitely check it out. But tonight, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I will see y'all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, if the good Lord say the same. I love each and every one of you. Until then, peace.